Hey y'all, welcome to our South Georgia garden. Well, spring is in the air. Well, it's not quite spring here in South Georgia, but it sure feels like it. It's actually still February here, so I know I need to go ahead and get out the rest of my cool season seeds so that they'll be ready to be popping up as soon as the spring arrives. And this will be my second seeding here. Kind of do a second seeding, as we've mentioned, sort of to hedge our bets, just in case a few of the first ones don't quite make it. So I hope you'll come along with me today as I do a few garden chores, including getting out the rest of my cool season seeds. Hey y'all! Well, I'm out here in the butterfly garden on this beautiful South Georgia morning. The air's a little crisp today, and it's supposed to get up into the mid-60s. We had a nice, gentle rain yesterday, about a ½ inch of rain. So here I'm in our butterfly garden. And the reason I was treading softly was because I see a lot of the little seeds, the first leaves from those little seeds that we planted. And as I told you, I'd take you along for a second seeding. So that's what I'm going to do today. I've got my seeds mixed in with some sand. Again, it helps me disperse them a little more evenly, and it lets me see where they're going down, because many of these seeds are so tiny you can barely see them. Also, that rain refilled my bird bath, so got fresh rainwater for the birds and little insects. It's a little breezy today, hearing those chimes and the birds in the distance. And you can see that clear blue Georgia sky. It's quite windy today, but it's lovely. I'm just blessed to be able to be out here in the garden. Have a few other chores that I'm going to do. But before I get to those, I'm going to put out my seeds. Wow, this looks wonderful, having this soil moist, ready to receive these seeds. And then you can see I do have my sprinkler set up still here. We've sprinkled this area a few times to try to keep it moist for the seeds, and if I need to, I can do that again. And I see some of the perennials coming back from last year, and I am so excited to see many of the new seeds that we just planted, seeing their little green leaves coming up. Most of these that I see are the first pair of leaves that come out when seeds germinate. Here's a group of them right here. So these are not the true leaves. Once those come out, I'll be able to distinguish which seeds these are, because remember, we planted a variety of cool season seeds here. So I'll keep you posted as they continue to grow. Well, you can see that Mark's in the background there, finishing pruning of some other roses we have on down past that row or hedge of knockouts. We have a few roses just mingled in that miracle garden bed, and I'm going to finish working here in the Belinda's Dream Garden. So as I'm cleaning out around these roses, getting this rose bed all cleaned up, ready for compost and mulch, I see one of the bat-faced cupheas that we had planted in here. When the bed was new and the Belinda's Dream roses were smaller, we planted some cuphea just to fill in the area to help shade the roots and to help prevent weeds. But now the Belinda's Dream Roses have gotten so large, we found that last fall the roses were just covering the cuphea and we weren't really seeing them. So this is a good time to transplant plants in your garden, to get them in the ground with spring and before the heat of summer comes. So that's what I'm going to do today. I've got my little rake and my hoary. I'm going to first find where my little drip irrigation is so that I don't cut into that. And oh yes, I have on my overalls with my knee pads, so it's easy just to drop down anywhere I need to, anywhere I want to, and I have my knee pads there with me. All right, so I've got my drip irrigation here. I'm going to move it out of the way a little bit. Follow it along. It's coming right under this cuphea, so yep, needed to be real careful here. And as I'm doing this, I do see some other weeds, so I'll be sure to get those out as I'm working here. But these cuphea do have some nice roots running with them, so I'm going to just gently, with my little hand rake, kind of pull the soil back so that I can see exactly where those little roots are. And you probably won't get all the roots when you are transplanting something, when you're moving it from one place to the other, but it's good to try to get as many of those roots as you can. So my little rake, I feel a root here, so I'm going to gently follow that root back and kind of lift it up. Nice root there. Coming on around. That's what I do. I just kind of work my way around the plant, filling for any of those roots, because most of its roots are just pretty much surface roots anyway. Oh, here's another nice one. Oh, another nice one coming on around that edge there. Working my way slowly around my plant. Being conscious of all where the roots are. Wow, look at that nice root. Okay, so I'm glad I didn't just go in here with a shovel on this. And that's also knowing your plants. I know that this cuphea, the roots run outward from the surface, from the middle of the plant. They don't go deep down like a tree or shrub would. So I don't really need to come in with a shovel. Fill in those roots. And I hear that little kind of pop when I get it loose. So I'm shopping my own garden, moving a plant to another area where I need some more color and coverage. I'm actually going to be planting 2 of the cupheas from this rose garden over beside my Jane magnolia that was put in. The Jane magnolia was put in last spring, so I think these cuphea will be a nice addition. Wow, look at all those roots. So I think it's ready to go to its new home, and then I can finish cleaning out this rose garden, knowing that I won't be disturbing my cuphea anymore. Hey, get my gloves on here, and as you saw when I was getting this bat-faced cuphea up, that was mostly, we said the roots were just surface roots. So I'm not really digging a great big hole here. I'm just pulling back the mulch that we had put around this Jane magnolia. Gonna give cuphea a place right at its bottom area to be part of its stalks. And I do have drip irrigation around this Jane magnolia, so the bat-faced cuphea will get to enjoy a little bit of that moisture also, because when your plants are newly being planted, that first season, they do need some extra water. And your trees, even for a couple of years, need some extra water. And this is nice soil here because we'd already amended it when we put the trees in. So I'm just going to take my cuphea. Got a small depression it's going to kind of go down in. Then I'm going to follow its roots and make more of a depression to get the roots down into that soil. And as you saw, I tried to keep as many of those long roots as I could. I'm going to get those snuggled down into that soil. And if they're a little longer than I want to manage in this area, I can snip off the ends of them. But I'm going to leave as much root as I can. Take my pruners and snip off just a little bit here at the end. And after I get them snuggled in a little bit, making sure how I want my roots to be, then I'll put my biotone in there to help those roots have a good start. These roots are nice. They're kind of coming on around. So that's what we'll let them do. And I think that's enough. So I'm going to snip off that end a little bit. And I like to leave as much root on it as possible while I'm transplanting it, because you never know how some of the roots might get damaged when you're moving them around. Okay, go ahead and give this some biotone down the edge, getting it snuggled in. Then I'll little weed was trying to be attached to it there. I'm going to get him out. Settle down the rest of these roots. A little biotone to the front. And then when we come around and do our yearly fertilizing of our trees and the garden, this will get a little bit more fertilizer at that time, or actual fertilizer. Okay, water this in. That nice rainwater that we were able to collect. And the soil was already moist because we did get a rain shower recently. When we mulch around all the garden, we'll bring some more fresh mulch around to this area also. So there it is. I'll get the other one done and I'll show you the results. Well, Mark, I see you finished getting all these drift roses cut back, and you'd already done the Blender's Dream. I went in and took out 2 cupheas and moved them down, transplanted them down to the James Magnolias. So this bed's looking good.
Yes, we just need some composted manure and some fertilizer, and this bed is ready to ready for spring.
It looks good. So I think we'll take a moment and go on down to where I've transplanted the cuphea and show you that. Well, Mark, I see you brought me down some mulch to put over my area where I put down the cuphea, and this Jane Magnolia sure is looking beautiful, isn't it?
Yes, she really is looking beautiful.
What do you think about how I positioned these?
The cupheas, the bat-faced cupheas,
Yes.
I think they'll look good at the base of Jane.
Right, I've already got them watered in, but I've got another pot of water. I'm gonna give them a little bit more water after I put out my chips here. And
yeah, those chips will be good to hold in some moisture and to keep them cool as we get into the summer.
right, and it's covering up the drip irrigation that we have here to help that moisture stay right down there on the plants. And this is what type of mulch is this?
It's a cypress mulch.
Some cypress mulch that we had delivered earlier. And I think I'm gonna just get in there with my hands and be a little more gentle with that.
Okay.
Placing it.
Just kind of spread it around the base of the
Spreading
plants.
it around the base, not having it up on the stems or the trunks of the tree. Just spreading it around and letting it cover the drip irrigation and keep that ground moist. Okay, so settling in those roots. And I was able to get some good roots up with these bat-faced cupheas. I took my time and just kind of went in there with my hands and could feel the roots. Didn't try to just dig them up like you would dig up a shrub or a tree.
So they almost came up bare root?
They really did. That's a perfect way to explain it. They came up bare root and the roots were really on the top of the soil. So I didn't have to dig a deep hole to put them in. I just scooped out a little place on the top of the soil and put them in and covered those roots over. And of course added my biotone. Oh, I was going to see, look at the size of these Jane magnolia blossoms.
Got one right
Yeah,
here.
I was seeing that one. Do I need to come over and touch that one, or you got it? Isn't that pretty?
Oh, that's gorgeous. Such a beautiful flower.
And this is its first year, its first spring to bloom with us. So hopefully, it's still got a lot more blossoms up there, but hopefully in years to come, it's going to be even more floriferous. A slight fragrance there.
Okay.
And we've had so much wind, I didn't think there would be any fragrance left, but there was a nice fragrance there.
Okay, I think this looks great, Belinda.
All right. Wow, Mark, it was another beautiful day here in South Georgia, wasn't it?
Certainly was, Belinda. Temperature was just right. It feels like spring, even though I know we're still in winter.
Yeah. We did work up a little sweat, but that's kind of good. We have our own gym right here.
Yes, we do. Gardening is your own gym.
Oh, keep you fit. And we got a few tasks done today, and I won't call them tasks, because I remember when I was a kid, my mom would call it chores, and that sounded just like work, because she'd say, Belinda, you got to get your chores done before you can go outside and play.
Right, and we consider being in our garden playing, so it's not a chore.
Right, so we did have a few tasks that needed to get done. I finished putting out some cool season seeds.
Yes, and you saw some seeds that are coming up.
I did. Some of that first sowing of seeds, some of them are coming up. And then you finished doing some rose pruning. You kind of finished up Belinda's dream garden.
Well, I finished up the drift roses around. I already finished Belinda's dream garden, and now I finished up the drift roses around her. So now that entire garden's done with Belinda's dream and the drift roses.
Yes. And then you got some of you got all the knockout roses done out of the miracle garden.
Finished up the knockout roses in the miracle garden. 11 of those.
That's nice. And when I was in the Belinda's Dream Garden, I did do some transplanting of those cuphea. And we really like cuphea. They do well for us.
Yes, they do. They do extremely well. And the pollinators, especially the hummingbirds, really love them.
But I did tell the viewers while I was doing that, the cuphea are not deer resistant. The deer do nibble them or do some Chelsea chops on them for us.
Yes, and we don't consider deer pollinators. So we say pollinators love the cuphea, but the deer love them too. They just love to munch them down to nothing.
Yes, we do tend to see a lot of the little hummingbirds and other insects on the cuphea. So I'm looking forward to having those down around the Jane magnolia, which she's already looking glorious.
She certainly is. And we can see her here from the porch as that South Georgia sun drops below the pines and has some dappled sunlight shining across Jane.
So it does look like spring here in South Georgia, but it's not quite spring.
No, we joke about it sometimes here in South Georgia, say this is fall spring, second winter's coming. But we can always keep our fingers crossed and hope that fall spring will just roll into regular spring.
That would be nice. And so, as we said, we're just tackling a few tasks at a time, getting things all ready for spring. But we're just kind of making a list and going through and doing some things.
Yes.
Don't have to get it all done in one day or in 1 week. We've got a few weeks to finish some of those things.
That is so true. And it is one thing as gardeners that you have to remind yourself, you don't have to get it all done in 1 day, 1 weekend, or even 1 week. Just take the task a little at a time and get them done. And you know, if you don't get them done, your garden's not going to die.
Yes, your plants and things are so resilient. If they're healthy, they want to live.
That's so true.
And I guess we are fortunate, though, that we are retired and we can piddle a little bit each day. But we remember those days when we were working full time and we had to mostly do our gardening on the weekends.
That's true. And we had to, that was the time we had to get things done. And if you didn't get it done, you just didn't get it done.
Yes. So no matter what stage of your life or your gardening life you're in, we hope that you're enjoying it. And even if you're still under the snow, we hope you're making some plans for spring. And let us know some things that you're doing or some things you're dreaming of doing.
And if you're already experiencing what we call maybe a fall spring, what are some things that have started to bloom in your garden, if they've started at all? We've got the Jane magnolia.
Yes.
We've got some daffodils coming up. I can see from here one sole daffodil bloom out at the edge of the pasture from here. So we've got some things blooming. What are some things blooming in your garden? We'd like to know.
So we've had a nice day out, and I think it's time for us just to have some sweet tea and maybe sit a spell and enjoy this wonderful temperature.
Sweetie, that sounds really good. Cheers from our South Georgia garden.